Cam got into a back and forth over his impending free agency initiated by a teenage player turned heckler at a regional 7-on-7 football tournament Sunday. Cam posted a video of the conversation that followed.
Please don't be one-dimensional. Like you said something to me, then I go, I'm really trying to talk to you. I'm not trying to crack no jokes. I'm just really trying to ask a simple question. I'm sorry. It's your fault why everybody's looking, but I'm really just trying to ask a question. But you never said what you did. You said you're going to see.
So there's that. Later on Sunday, the young man did apologize. Stephen A., what's your reaction to Cam's handling of that situation?
Well, I don't think that I appreciate the explanation that Cam came back and tried to provide to him. I don't think that he should have engaged in a back and forth with the kid at the start, because here's the reality of the situation. He's a kid, so I won't mention his name, although it's all over the web and social media and all of that stuff. But that kid should be ashamed of himself. If I was his parent, he would have been grounded. He would have been punished. I might have slapped him upside his head. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was a disgraceful display of behavior by that young kid. And let me put it in perspective for that young kid who was a linebacker and a wide receiver at his college at this particular moment in time. I don't know whether he was 16 or 17 years of age. Cam Newton is an individual that has been in the National Football League for 10 years. He has played in 139 games, or 140. Outside of last season, where he was injured pretty much for all but 2 games, Cam Newton has missed a grand total of 6 games in 10 years, okay, with the exception of last season where he missed those 14 games. In one of the most violent sports, if not the most violent sport there is, playing the quarterback position, this man has been durable for the most part. He's a former league MVP. He guided the team to the Super Bowl. He's earned over $100 million in his professional career. And despite what he accomplished and what he has achieved in his life, this man, Cam Newton, decides to be one of the sponsors for several teams for a camp you showed up to help you and the kids that were there with you. And you would disrespect him like that? I mean, is it really that important? This is what I'm talking about now. So we understand that kids are kids, and we understand that kids are entitled to make mistakes. That's why I'm not mentioning his name. And we get all of that. But the level of disrespect that young kids show to their elders is one of the problems that we have existing in today's world. The late, great John Chaney, the coach at Temple University basketball, Max, used to tell me all the time, he despised what he called the microwave society. Everything is about now. And everybody wants now so badly that they don't want to toil through the terrain and put in the work and grind and do all of those kind of things. And they'll do anything to get to that point, to expedite the process and bypass and go through whatever loops they need to go through to bypass the process. And this is one of the things that the guy did, because you're on camera and you're seen arguing with Cam Newton and everybody knows who you are. But you were disrespectful, and it was uncalled for, and believe it or not, very ungrateful, because Cam Newton did not have to be there. He did not have to be sponsoring these events, but he did it for you. He did it for kids like you. And obviously his coaches and other adults, along with his parents, got to him, and props to him for apologizing. But I do think it takes a little bit of looking in the mirror to ask yourself, what would get you to do that to begin with? Because those same parents were there, those same coaches were there. They taught you better than that. You knew better than that before you did it. You didn't care until somebody made you care. And that's a big problem that exists in our society today. And I think it's incredibly unfortunate that that kid was caught on camera acting that way. It's very unfortunate, but I'm glad he apologized.
Yeah, I feel sorry for kids nowadays. I feel sorry for kids growing up. You know, their brains are still developing. That's what the reason teenagers don't have good judgment is, because literally that part of their brain is not developed. I mean, most adults don't have perfect judgment. No one has perfect judgment.
It's true.
But especially kids. And especially in a competitive situation at that age, man, I'm glad there weren't camera phones around when I was that age, and I think most people, if you're honest, would admit the same. So I had the same reaction as you, Stephen A. It's so offensive, the kid's attitude, right? You're like, what's the matter with you? But then I caught myself, Stephen A., shame is not useful here. I don't think the kid should be shamed. I'm sure he already feels some kind of shame, and I don't think it's helpful. I want to read his apology before I get to he said, first and foremost, I want to express my deepest apologies to Cam Newton and my entire organization and coaches for my actions. I did not intend for it to get as far as I did. I'd like to start by saying my parents never taught me to treat people disrespectfully. Like, he knows he messed up, and he was caught messing up. And by the way, Cam Newton had the same reaction any human being would when they hear that. At first, you get defensive for a second. So he starts talking about, I'm rich. And then it occurred to him, and I don't want to blame Cam Newton for that either, because no one's perfect. And it occurred to him, oh, wait a minute, I'm talking to a kid. Okay. And then he says, he asked to speak to his parent. He doesn't even want to address him about it. He's like, I need to speak to your parent. That's the right thing to do. And then he pursued him afterwards saying, wait a minute. Well, people are looking at us because of what you did, but he's trying to figure out where the kid's coming from. I think it's an unfortunate situation. It could be a teaching moment, a learning moment. I think that these kind of interactions happen to everybody throughout the course of their lives, and that I really don't envy teenagers and kids today coming up in this environment where so many of their mistakes are recorded for posterity. And I would even say, Stephen A., that after that first moment that wasn't so great from Cam, where he just got defensive, human nature, he quickly recovered and realized, wait a minute, this is a kid, I'm a mentor, and he assumed that role. I don't see any reason for shame here.
Well, I disagree with you respectfully, only in this regard. I'm not saying we should shame the kid. I said he should be ashamed of himself. He should look in the mirror, in the privacy of his own thoughts, in his own head, in his own mind, even in his own home. You know better. And the point is that just like he's talking about his parents, the organization that he represents, etc. Basically what you're highlighting is that they taught you this. They taught you humility. They taught you sportsmanship. And they certainly taught you gratitude and appreciation for those who reach back to try to provide a helping hand. And for you to go at somebody that was literally there to help you. If Cam Newton never plays another football game, if he never does anything else in life in football, it doesn't take away from the reality that there are millions upon millions of kids aspiring to play the sport of football that can learn an awful lot from him. And that's the point that needs to be made.
Stephen A., real quick before we get out of here, may that be the worst thing that kid ever does. We've all play the low light reel of anyone's life, the worst 20 moments. May that even make the top 20 for him. We're all imperfect. We all mess up in ways that later on we're like, oh God, I don't even want to think about that. For this kid, that mess up is worldwide news. I feel bad for the kid right now.
But you're looking at the kid, and I'm asking you to take the bigger picture, to think about the millions of people who watch First Take, to think about the kids out there who will roll up on you in the street, who've rolled up on me in the street. That's the level of disrespect.
They can get your goat, too.
Excuse me. Wait a minute. Respect your elders. There's a certain kind of way. Like if I saw my nephews or my daughters grow up and you talking to somebody that way, you're going to have a problem with Uncle Steve. You're going to have a problem with Daddy. Because guess what? You don't act that way. And so you're sending a message to the masses, not just for that kid, but for all of those kids out there. Stop looking for the elevator, take the stairs, be willing to work through the process, and be humble and respectful along the way, especially to those who are reaching back to give back to you.
Part of the teaching and learning process is being scolded at times. The kid deserved to be scolded. That's for sure.
No question. It's simple. You treat people the way you want to be treated, especially authority figure and someone trying to do favors for you. We'll leave it there, fellas. When we come back, the Nets have continued rolling with the win over the Clippers yesterday. So why is Max refusing to call them